Hi everyone, it's Eric from ecom12.blogspot.com bringing you my review of the Nokia Lumia 1020, which was sent to me by Vodafone. Now the Lumia 1020 has a lot of hype behind it, and I literally mean behind it, as the back of the phone has a 41 megapixel, yes, you heard me right, 41 megapixel camera, which not only includes a standard LED flash, but also has a xenon flash, which you only get with dedicated cameras and camcorders. So that will really help with lighting up your subject. And whilst we are on the subject of the camera, I think we should just get right to it. Simply put, the camera on the Lumia 1020 is second to none. I mean, wow. I have never seen a camera this good come to a smartphone. In fact, I don't think the majority of point and shoots can capture this much detail. The pictures are super clear and crisp. There are a couple of problems I have with it though. The first one is indoor photos. Indoors the photos still have the detail, but if you use the flash, then they have a very strong yellow tint, so you will want to refrain from using the flash indoors. The camera also has an optical image stabilizer, which is awesome, but sometimes just small movements can make the photos get blurred though, so it works 95% of the time. Those are my only main problems. The advantages of the camera are just endless, and even after using the phone for 2 weeks, the camera still amazes me. The feeling with the camera is a similar feeling I got with the HTC One's boom sound speakers. Even after using it for a couple weeks, the novelty doesn't wear off, and you just feel encouraged to use it more and more. The 1080p HD video footage was also really good. The video was not as clear as the actual photos, but it was perfectly serviceable. The microphones are clear, but they don't deal with wind noise very well. So that's my thoughts of the camera out of the way. What do I think about the rest of the phone? Let's start with the display. The Lumia 1020 has a 4.5-inch AMOLED display running at a resolution of 1280 by 768. Although it's not 1080p, that doesn't mean it's bad. 720p is still a really good resolution, and it looks great on the Lumia screen. I can't fault it, except I do think the screen is a little bit warm, which produces a slightly noticeable yellow tint. On the whole though, the screen looks great. Moving on to performance. The phone has a 1.5 GHz Qualcomm dual-core processor with 2 GB of RAM. The overall performance of this phone is really snappy and fluid. It even runs fine in all the games I've tested with it. Windows Phone doesn't have much intensive games to run on the device, but the phone should run pretty much every game in the library pretty much flawlessly. Web browsing I think is the only real place where I think the performance isn't at its best. Don't get me wrong, it's a great experience, and I'd even go as far as to say that Windows Phone has the smoothest web browsing experience out of all OSs, but the one downside is that it does have some checkerboarding on intensive websites. Normally I would have given that a pass, like 3 years ago, but in the day and age we live in now, we should not be seeing that anymore. Now let's talk about the bad points of the Lumia 1020. I've already mentioned a couple faults, but the next couple I'm going to mention are such deal breakers that they prevent me from using Windows Phone as my daily driver. The first one is YouTube. Oh my god, I can't believe how terrible this is. Whenever I consume media on my devices, the majority of it is done on YouTube, and Windows Phone still does not have a YouTube app. If you want to watch videos on YouTube, then you need to go onto the malfunctioning mobile website. Really? You are still using the YouTube website? What kind of mobile operating system doesn't have its own YouTube app? Except that one. This is just pitiful. Really, really pitiful. Now I would be able to deal with this if the website experience was actually good, but nope, the website is as mucked up as Phil Schiller. Videos aren't played back in full HD, you can't press enter on the keyboard to search for results, and scrubbing through the video is non-existent. You can only skip a few seconds with these buttons, and that's it. So I am really disappointed with the terrible YouTube experience. The next thing I didn't like is just the common complaint everyone has with Windows Phone, the apps. They are still lacking, and even though they are getting better, they are not very good, and don't even come close to the versions on Android and iOS. I mean, you can't even use the accelerometer when you really need it. The rest is just minor, like the lack of quick toggles in the Windows Phone OS, etc. On to the good aspects of this phone, and there are loads. I keep rambling on about it, but the 41 megapixel camera, it really is the best camera you can get on any smartphone, period. It even beats the camera on the iPhone 5S, and I have a very strong feeling that it will still hold its own even at the end of 2014. In terms of smartphone cameras, this is as good as it gets, no doubt about it. The screen is great, and the Windows Phone operating system is really good. I can say that I would definitely use it as my daily driver, however, some of those negatives that I mentioned repels me from using it daily. Incoming and outgoing call quality from the earpiece and microphone are great, and the battery life was exceptional. I have easily been getting a day to a day and a half, but if you hardly use the phone except for social networking and phone calls, then I managed to get 3 days out of it, which is very impressive. So in conclusion, the Nokia Lumia 1020 is a really great smartphone. I can barely fault the actual handset, but it's the software that lets it down. The Windows market really needs more apps. It's happening, but it's taking a very long time, and the apps that do come to the market are not as good as their Android or iOS counterparts. So until that has been resolved, I cannot recommend Windows Phone to those who want to gain access to a plethora of applications. If the current amount of apps in the Windows market are good enough for you, then you will love this device, but for everyone else, I cannot recommend that you buy a Windows phone. Thanks very much for watching. This has been Eric from ecommon12.blogspot.com. Please thumbs up, comment and subscribe, and I'll see all of you next time. Take care.